Hello everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Alright, so tonight we are looking at Rejected, directed by Rene Rivas. I hope I pronounced your name right. Just for a bit of disclosure, I received this as a screener to give a review, so this hasn't been released yet. So with that being said, I'm going to avoid spoilers like the plague. Don't want to ruin it for folks. So this was a Indiegogo, it was a crowdfunding project, came together and basically just wants to get the word out about it before it becomes available. Seems like tagline is "In Rejected, a short horror parody. Three twisted tales of the macabre horror unfold, all linked by an antiquated digital camera from 1997." We'll get that in a minute. The tales intertwine, creating a narrative that is both terrifying and hilariously absurd. Really? Antiquated? You cheeky bastard. I was around at that time. I remember these things. In fact, it was like, oh, don't have to use the cassette anymore and put into the VCR. I am that old. In fact, do you know how old I am? I remember that the proper VCR cassettes that you plugged the camcorder cassette in was new technology. This is pre double VCR. Yeah, thanks for using words of gat and making me feel old. Also, I couldn't afford the Sony Mavica, uh, so we had to go with Panasonic. Our cheap friend who helped us out. I actually didn't get a proper digital camera until like the 2000s, early 2000s, because they were bloody super expensive. One thing though, they did really well sourcing one of these things, and they did really well playing with the logo. So you'll get it when you see it. But those tripods and stuff, nah, they weren't about then. That was only camera people, like serious photographers' equipment. I remember back then just being frightened getting into a photography shop, and all the tripods were more expensive than the cameras. It was super. Just the idea of something going out, like, oh, what a time! The 90s were that growing pains time and era. Like the 80s was purely analog, 100%. And 90s, like when you think from, was it 90? I know the Apple Macintosh's been around, but I'm talking about being available for Joe Public. Like you're talking about 93 when the home computer was available. My first computer was a Windows 95 and it cost me 3 grand. And that was a lot of scrimping and saving and borrowing and all sorts and part time jobs and a lot of help from parents to get that bad boy. And that had a 15-inch screen. I'm talking about 15-inch screen. You're talking about it needed its own bloody desk. It was that heavy. Like this was an amazing time for technology and crossing over. And just like people don't get it today in the digital age, how difficult it was to get something from one device to another medium or transferring, or even the idea of uh flipping transfer, storing files. Three and a half. I remember having boxes. Like you used to have full boxes of 3.5-inch floppies. It was a Command and Conquer and Command and Conquer 2. You needed about three floppies, and what you did is you installed them. And it can only temporarily install on your computer because it didn't have enough memory. I'm just setting the premise here. Um, and then when you went to a certain level, then you took out disc one, you put in disc two. Now this is even pre CD-ROMs. Like CD-ROMs were like next level. And I know like there's younglings watching this channel going, huh? What's that strange language he's speaking? This was groundbreaking, and here's how old I am. I remember the 3.5-inch floppy being modern technology because prior to that was the 7-inch floppy, and that's why it was called a floppy disk because it could proper waka waka waka. I'm talking about playing games like Paperboy and Airwolf on an Amstrad. Oh dear. Yeah. So thanks for using the word antiquated, you bastard, and making me feel old and ancient and decrepit. Oh man, right. So this is a spoof. Okay, it's I thought it was going to be found footage, but it's not. It's it's not a film either. It's I would like Freddy's Nightmares or Candid Camera back in the day. It's sort of a mesh of those two. Makes sense. So it's the sort of little skits that, if you remember Freddy's Nightmares back in the day, yeah, once again I'm showing my age. Sorry, folks. And I used to. Do you know how bad it was? We didn't have cable TV because it wasn't available. So we went to the video store and rented those. They actually had the Freddy's Nightmares series on VHS, and you could rent them. Yes, I'm that old. So there you go. It just reminds me of those little skits. And yeah, it's all tied around this camera. Now, basically, it's found footage of TV ads. And that's the sort of thing for this particular camera. And each of the three tails is a rejected ad, hence the name of the title. And we have a series of characters. Yes, I'm treading the landmines of spoilers here, so not to ruin it for you, but each of the ads is a situation, a scenario, and the camera's involved, and things go wrong, and blah blah blah, and then we get to the sort of tie-in bit where it's explained what's going on. What I have to say, right? First of all, congratulations. You don't have to go to jail. You did not use digital blood. That is so refreshing to see practical effects being used and proper blood, and not. He could have cheaped out in this and used, because there is a wee bit of a lure of CGI. And this is what I'm talking about movies, and here's proof that indie movies can do it. Use the basis of the practical effects and then have your little layer of CGI over the top. Brilliant. And also, with the nature of this movie and parodying the 90s and infomercials and all that kind of stuff, it works. So there's a hamminess to this, but do you know my greatest complaint about comedies is the fact that they're made by people that take themselves far too seriously and they've no sense of fun about them, and that's why they fall flat. This has a sense of fun about it, and I like it. I like seeing something that has a sense of fun, and we're here to make something. We're here to have a good time. We're not trying to take it too seriously, but we want to entertain you. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That is what I look for in stuff like this. Is just, we want you to have a good time. Come along, look what we made. And yeah, I like that. I do. I really appreciate that. So thanks very much. The only thing I'd say is I wanted more. It's when he means short, he means short. Now I don't know whether this is an abridged version and not the full version because of the screener, which I don't know how he plans to release this, but I'd like to have seen it a bit longer, especially because this is short, like really short. So there is a bit you could explore to finish it off with the footage. Like I said, I'm avoiding spoilers here, like the plague. A wee bit more into that. But the actual stories themselves are just fun, hilarious. This is something I would imagine like a weekly episode. This is what I would... How to put it? Do you know, like Elvira or Tales from the Crypt or something? This is what I would imagine a Tales from the Crypt, but a whole 90s themed infomercial, and then it just shows different things with these cameras and how they got about and what happens. The third one in this steps away a bit. It steps away from the infomercial. It so almost goes into a play on its own, which is a bit strange. But I liked it. So I got it. That's only one that kind of stepped away at the end. The first two were tight and stuck within the lore of this. The third one started to drift a bit, and I can kind of get it. But there was an opportunity there with the third one to explain this whole thing. If that had been found. Now, how could you build in this? After the events at the end of this, somebody could find that camera and it could be dug up or something and find it and then look at it again, and then the story plays out in real time. That's how I think this could expand. But I wouldn't want it to expand too much or over explain, if that makes sense. But all in all, really happy, and I'm nearly waffling on as long as it's going to be. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I just had a bit of fun. You know, at the end of the day, that's all you want sometimes. It's just a bit of goofy fun, bit of splatter, some nice effects. Like there's some good effects and there's good costumes in this as well. I have to say, hats off to them for the costume department. They did really well with a few of these things. And I'll forgive the digital fire. Like that's another crime, but it's not as heinous as digital blood. As you know, the stance of this channel is digital blood is illegal in horror movies. Now there might have been a wee bit towards the end. I'm not 100% sure. And I'll let you off with a warning this time, if it is. But all in all, practical effects, goofy fun. The cast seem to be like they're enjoying themselves and want to be in this. So, what else can I say? Really enjoyed it. Thanks, Rene, for sharing this with me and let me get a chance to review it. Obviously, if you aren't subscribed already to the newsletter, do so, because I'll ask for updates when this becomes available and how it becomes available, and then I'll share it in the newsletter when it does, so that you can keep up to date with it. There you go. There's that. And just leaves me to say, until next time, keep updated with the channel, do tiny clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.